Cette émission est un programme d'enseignement destiné aux jeunes scolarisés. Pour leur permettre d'en profiter pleinement, chers parents, merci de tenir éloignés des éléments de distraction, téléphone, télécommande et autres. Il est également recommandé de mettre l'élève dans des conditions propices à l'apprentissage. Avoir un cahier et un crayon à billes à portée de main serait bénéfique. Dans la mesure du possible, la surveillance parentale ou d'un tuteur peut s'avérer nécessaire.
Good morning, dear learners. I am Mr. Emmanuel, your English language teacher. Today, this program concerns the learner of Terminal A, C, or D if possible, because they are all interested by this program of English. We will work basically today on word building. That is in grammar. 1. We have the definition. What do we understand by word building? Some people also call it formation of words. Words building can be defined as an exercise that requires some basic knowledge over the issue of grammatical classes changing. Hence, this general view of words change urges us to find out about some cardinal strategies that can help the learners understand the issue of words formation. We have a remark, nota bene. Of the 9 grammatical classes, I will cite them. We have articles, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Only 5 can undergo the process of words building. I would like to first of all explain the last part of this first paragraph, which says of the 9 grammatical classes, only 5 can undergo the process of word building, because we had 9 classes, so we removed only 5. I will name the 5 classes that can change. We have nouns. A noun can change its form. For example, you can take mango, which is singular. You can put it plural, mangoes. So noun undergoes the process of word changing. We have verbs. We have adjectives. We have adverbs. And there is a 5th class, even though it can be ranked under verbs, which is gerunds. So altogether, we have 5 classes that can undergo the process of words building or word formation. 2. How do we change the grammatical class of a word? That's the first question that you should ask yourself. And in most cases, it seems to be the more difficult task to you learners. But don't worry. There are 3 methods which can help learners cope with the problem of word formation. I name them: prefixation, suffixation, and derivative. We will take one after the other in order to break down the understanding. When we talk of prefixation, we simply means that in the process or along the process of forming a new word, we will have to use a particle. What do we mean by a particle? A particle is simply a syllable that has no meaning. If in a sentence, or case of example, I say re and then start. That is, the word is restart. Re is considered as my prefix. Start being a meaningful word. And if you identify the word restart with me, you will find out that re comes at the very beginning of the word. That's the why we said pre. That is coming before the main word or the root. Great. Let's move now to suffixation, which seems to be, in this context, the reverse side of prefix or prefixation. Because we first of all talk about a particle coming at the very beginning of a word. Now we will talk about the last particle or the particle that we add after the main word. I say happy, which is an adjective. And then in a different or another sentence, I say happily. That is an ending particle that I've used, which is illy. So in that context, we talk of suffixation because the change has been done at the end of the main word that we had. The third method, which is derivative, it seems to be a little more complex than the two first, even though there is still a possibility for you to handle it. It deals with a category of words which obey to no particular rules. Reason why we say that derivative is a little bit complex. A. Formation of new words using prefixation. Prefixes are of different natures among il, in, im, this, miss, on, ear, en, and re. We have about 10 prefixes listed here. But we are not saying that this is a complete list of all the prefixes. No, we are only trying to number those who are recurrent, the one constantly used on our day-to-day usage of language. Great. Remarks. Words starting by L, R, take relatively il and ir as prefixes. We have some examples. Regular, comma, legal, comma. Now we have what when we form a new word? We have ir because regular begins by R. In that context, it obeys to the rule which says that when a word begins by R, we use ER in front of the word to have a newly formed word. It gives us irregular. The same is applied for Lego. Since L is the first letter, we put EL in front as prefix to have illegal. The following words obey the rules above. Legitimate. You use EL, it gives you illegitimate. We have legible. You use EL, it gives you illegible. You have radiance. Since it is R, you will no longer use EL, you use ER. So, irradiance. You have rational. R again. You use ER, which gives you irrational. You have real, or a synonym of authentic, if you like. Real. Since it is R, you put ER in front. It gives you irreal. And so on and so forth. Now, words beginning by D and P. Take in, that is IN, and im, that is I am. Relatively. Examples. Different. De. Concerning sound, D. Concerning letters is the first letter. Then I will use in. It gives indifferent. Now, partial. It's no longer de, but pe. So, when I see P, I will use EM rather. It gives me impartial. The same is applied for definite, which gives me indefinite, divisible, equal to indivisible. We have defectible, which gives me indefectible. We have determined, which gives me indeterminate. We have dubious, which gives me indubious. And personal, concerning letter P, we have impersonal. Perceptible, which gives me imperceptible. Proper, which gives me improper. Palpable, gives me impalpable. The last one, peccable, gives me impeccable. So, the list is not completed. You can, with your own research, try to enlarge the list of those words. At the bottom of the first page, B. Formation of new words using suffixation. But first of all, we will give you a list of suffixes. Suffixes are of different natures among tion, T-I-O-N, jaune, S-I-O-N, ibly, I-B-L-Y, able, A-B-L-E, ice, I-C-E, all, A-L, ment, M-E-N-T, li, L-Y, full, F-U-L, ness, N-E-S-S, less, L-E-S-S, and then alley, A-L-L-Y. Those are some suffixes that you can use at the end of a newly formed word. Remarks. Words, adjectives, ending in L, E, T, S, R. Take ly, that's li, to become adverbs. Examples. Punctual. We have as taken as an adjective. Gives you for adverbs punctually. You see, ly has been added at the end because punctual ends in L. Wise, which is an adjective, once again, gives you wisely because E is the last letter of the word. It obeys to the rule cited above. Rare, adjective, gives us rarely. Efficient, gives us efficiently, T being the last letter of the main word. Now, words, adjectives, ending in ic, that is IC. Take ally, A-L-L-Y, to become adverbs. Examples. Pathetic, gives us pathetically. You can say pathetically if you like. Specific, gives us specifically. Tragic, gives us tragically. Now, next dash, some adjectives take the suffix ness to become nouns. And those ending in Y, change the Y into I before you add the last suffix. Examples: empty. The last letter is Y. You will first of all change the Y into I before adding the suffix. Then empty becomes emptiness. Happy obeys to the same rule. Happiness. Faithful will no longer obey to the rule. You will only add ness. Faithfulness. Some words ending in CE, CY, take SE, SY relatively to become verbs. Examples: license. You see, the last but one letter was C and the last letter E. You have now, since it was a noun, to have it in a verb form, you will change the CE into SE to have license. Practice gives you practice, but with SE. Devise gives you devise, but with SE. Prophecy give you prophesy with SY at the end. Next dash. The following words, which are concerning the grammatical class verbs, drop E, that is, you remove E. To drop means to remove. Drop E and take all, that is AL, to become nouns. Examples are remove. For example, the word ends in E, then I drop the E final and I put AL. It gives me for the category of noun removal. Next, reverse, reversal, rehearse. That is to repetition, if you like. Rehearse means repetition, if the word seems to be a little bit complicated. Now, rehearse, rehearsal, refuse, refusal, dispose, disposal, retrieve, retrieval. Another dash. Some verbs take T to become nouns. Example: complain, but a complaint. Restraint, constrain, constraint. Some adjectives are formed by adding the suffix ish. Examples: boy gives you boyish. That is a character which is ranked under those concerning boys. Child, you say childish. That is, you behave like a kid, like a child, like a small boy. Woman, womanish. That is acting like woman. Cat, cattish, with characteristic of a cat. Pig, piggish. C. On page 2, formation of new words using derivative, which is our third method in this study. This method is much more complex than the two first, as they don't obey as it. Sorry, a mistake. As it, because we talk about one method. As it doesn't obey to any of the rules mentioned earlier. Though along the process, the words maintain certain letters indicating the root. Examples: changing words from adjectives to nouns. We have anxious, anxiety. You see, at this level, I prefer explaining something. You will remark with me that anxious being an adjective, anxiety, which is derived from anxious, has no particular rule at all. You have to read and observe how the word changes the form. Proud becomes pride. High becomes head. Wide becomes width. wise becomes wisdom. Reading at those words carefully, you cannot draw a particular rule. So, after the three methods that we were supposed to study, we have some practical exercises. And then the first one, at the end of the second page, practical exercise 1. Change the words in the brackets to nouns. 1. In order to ease the dash inside the brackets bore of the afternoon, I took a book from the shelf to read and soon doze off. We begin the third page. That is number 2. It was a good dash. Inside the bracket, think when you gave him that glass of water. You will change the word think into the proper or adequate form as required by the sentence. Number 3. The only dash inside brackets happy, wicked people have is when one fails. You change happy, which is an adjective, into the required form. Number 4. Cholera is a serious dash to our health. Inside the bracket, threaten. We gave you a verb. That is a verb to threaten. We want you to change the form. You give a noun. Number 5. And dash inside the bracket argue over the Jews divided the meeting. You change argue, which is a verb to argue. That is a kind of quarrel between two persons. Somebody does not probably understand what the other is saying, and then they start exchanging vivid words. So you use the correct form, the noun required. Number 6. The dash of a child is always a moment of joy and celebration in. There is something that we omitted. In many families. In many families. Inside the brackets, born. That you will change into a noun. Number 7. Many people from all over the world attend the dash ceremony more than we had thought of. Inside the bracket, bury. Pay attention to the last letter ending the word bury because it is Y. And you know Y is a semi-vowel, semi-consonant. At that time, what do? It is up to you. Number 8. The two neighbors couldn't help each other because they of the dash which reigned between them. 8. 9. Many people dash reach themselves when they are appointed to occupy a post in Cameroon. What do? We want a verb because reach is an adjective. What do people do when they are appointed at a certain position in the society? What is commonly known? 10. We dash our own country when we use the nation's resources for private interest. 4. That is, you are appointed somewhere, but you use the state funds for your own interests. What are you doing of the country? That is the 10th question. We will surely come back after the short break to continue with the practical exercise 2 because we first of all give you exercises before giving you a kind of correction.
Cette émission est un programme d'enseignement destiné aux jeunes scolarisés. Pour leur permettre d'en profiter pleinement, chers parents, merci de tenir éloignés des éléments de distraction, téléphone, télécommande et autres. Il est également recommandé de mettre l'élève dans des conditions propices à l'apprentissage. Avoir un cahier et un crayon à billes à portée de main serait bénéfique. Dans la mesure du possible, la surveillance parentale ou d'un tuteur peut s'avérer nécessaire.
Welcome back, dear learners. Before going to the short break, we gave you a practical exercise. That's practical exercise 1. And we were supposed to continue with the practical exercise 2. As we said earlier, we will first of all give you some exercises before bringing the correction. So, 2. Add the following on page 3. Add the following suffixes to the words underlined in the sentences. The words can undergo changes before having a new form. The suffixes are full, ish, itchy, and shen. I want to explain something. We said in the exercise that certain words can undergo some changing before obtaining the very word we want you to produce. 1. This man was born in Scotland. He is a dash. So it is up to you to look for the proper form of the word underlined, and then you write in the space provided. 2. The government launched a project to dash the roads in our country. The logo shows beautiful white roads. The word underlined in the second sentence is the adjective wide. It is up to you to find out about the new form that word will take. Let's move on to our 4th page. Number 3. Take care of the baby, as I am not at home today. You should be dash with him. The word underlined is care. Number 4. It was reported that the dash of the 2 cars caused a lot of damages in the neighboring areas, even if the drivers claim not to have collided voluntarily. We are in the context of an accident whereby 2 cars collided. You change the form of the verb which is already in the past tense, collided, to give the adequate one. Number 5. It was necessary for the government to adopt the close down of the borders. Doing that was an absolute dash. This sentence concerns the coronavirus pandemic that we are living now. And the sentence says that it was necessary for our government, or for the government, to adopt the close down of the borders. And that doing that was an absolute, you change necessary into the correct form. Practical exercise 3, which will be our last practical exercise for this lesson. Give as many as possible different forms of the following words. The first one stands as an example for you. Words can change to nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, or gerunds. Those are the 5 grammatical classes into which you can change the various words that will be given in the exercise. 1. Believe. Believe here is a verb. We want you to give the other grammatical classes as much as possible. 2. Courage. Courage is a noun. Number 3. Still. And you have 3 gaps for number 3. So we expect you to give 3 other ways or forms of the verb to still, using either suffixation, prefixation, or even derivative. Number 4. Fly, which is a verb. Number 5. Care, which is a noun. Number 6. Die, which is a verb. After this series of exercises, we will now start the correction of the practical exercise 1. Let's go back to the second page where practical exercise 1 was given. We were asked to change the words in the brackets to noun. 1. In order to ease the dash at that level, we have two possible answers. The first one can be boredness. The second one can be boredom. We gave two answers so that the learners or the candidate during examination should be capable of having at least one in mind. Number 2, we were asked to answer to the question, to change the form. It was a good dash inside the bracket. Think when you gave him that glass of water. The answer is thought. It was a good thought. Let me spell so that you can see with me how think has changed into thought. Ch-8 O-U-G-H-G. Thought. So it was a good thought when you gave him that glass of water. Number 3, the only dash happy will change into happiness. The only happiness wicked people have is when one fails. Number 4, cholera is a serious dash to our health. The word given inside the bracket is threaten. It was a verb. Now, for you to have a noun, you will drop the en, which is a suffix that has been added. And then what do we have? Cholera is a serious threat. I spell it T-H-R-E-A-T. Threat. Number 4. Now, that is, we can use a threat for a menace, if you like. Cholera is a serious threat. Cholera is a serious menace to our health. Number 5. And dash inside the brackets. Argue over the Jews divided the meeting. Argue changes into argument. Over the Jews divided the meeting. Number 6. The dash of a child is always a moment of joy and celebration in. As I said, there is something that we omitted. And celebration in many families. We were given born inside the bracket. Now, we will change it into a birth. So, the birth of a child is always a moment of joy and celebration in many families. Number 7. Many people from all over the world attend the dash ceremony more than we had thought. Inside the bracket, bury. To bury is a verb. We want it to change its form and become a noun. The noun that is derived from bury is burial, because the last letter Y will be dropped, or let me say changed into I before we add all, that is AL. It becomes burial. Burial ceremony. Number 8. The two neighbors couldn't help each other. Why? Because of the, inside the bracket, hate. Because of the hatred. which reigns between them. Number 9. Many people dash reach themselves when they are appointed to occupy a post in Cameroon. You have inside the bracket reach the fact of making money illegally. In that context, is considered as enriching yourself. So many people enrich themselves. What have you done? We've used a prefix. Among the list of prefixes that we gave at the very beginning of this lesson, you will see that we chose prefix n, that is en, to form any word. Enrich. Good. So many people enrich themselves when they are appointed to occupy a post in Cameroon. Number 10. We dash our own country when we use the nation's resources for private interest. Inside the bracket, poor. What do? We impoverish our country because the state funds that we use are not supposed to be for our family alone. No, it is for the country. And when we cast it aside for our private interests, what are we doing? We are impovering our country. So we impoverish with em, not, I am, not en. Impoverish, because we saw the categories of prefixes. So don't get confused between the im and the em at this level. Great. Now, practical exercise 2. We were asked to add the following suffixes to the words on the line in the sentences. And then the 5 prefixes that we were given, suffixes, were full, ish, itchy, and shun. This man was born in Scotland. He is a, when I look at the list of suffixes that have been given, I will see ish. And when I drop land from Scotland, I can simply add ish to become what? Scottish. We described the nationality of the man concerned in the sentence. So this man was born in Scotland. He is a Scottish. You can consider the word Scottish as an adjective because we are trying to qualify the origin. We are trying to qualify the nationality of the man. Number 2. The government launched a project to dash the roads in our country. The logo shows beautiful wide roads. The word on the line is wide. In that case, what do? We saw in the list of suffixes that there was a possibility for us to add en. I think it is the moment for us to identify the 5 suffixes that have been given. And then it is obvious to see en. Let us see if we can drop one e because you cannot use 2 e at the same time. So sure enough, the rule says you can transform or you can remove certain letters and then add some more. In this context, we will drop the first e and then put n. That's all. It gives us, the government launched a project to widen the roads in our country. The logo shows beautiful wide roads. Always keep in mind one thing, which can be as an indicator. The word which is on the line and which is supposed to be the start of the newly formed word is supposed to guide you. It's supposed to orientate you. Let's move on to the third sentence of our second practical exercise. Take care of the baby as I am not at home today. Is probably one of your parents. It can be your mother or your father. Going out and leaving you at home, asking you to take care of the baby. You should be based on care. Identifying the suffixes, you useful. You should be careful. That is, pay attention. Take a look constantly at the baby. Great. You should be careful with him. Number 4. It was reported that the dash of the two cars caused a lot of damages in the neighboring areas, even if the drivers claim not to have collided voluntarily. Okay. The word on the line is collided. If we identify the grammatical class, is considered here as a past tense because of the ed. And much more. A word or a verb, yes, ending in e, a vowel interposed with a consonant is supposed to be a regular verb. In that context, what do? We add d at the end to put it, to have it in the simple past tense. So here we had a verb as grammatical class. What are we required to do? It was reported that the collision, that is, you drop dead, which is the last syllable of your verb, the past tense. You drop it, you remove it if you like, and then you add shen. Why? There is a rule, remember, in class you saw it probably, or you were taught it, that when a word ends in GE, you drop the GE. If the lesson is, if the exercise is related to formation of words, you drop the GE and then you put shon, S-I-O-N, to have a newly formed word. So it functions here. Number 5. It was necessary for the government to adopt the close down of the borders. Doing that was an absolute what? Let us go back to necessary. Yeah. From necessary, what do? You construct necessity because you have ity, which is the suffix remaining in the list. So you will drop ari and then you paste ity. It gives you, it was an absolute necessity. Practical exercise 3. Give as many as possible different forms of the following words. The first one stands as an example for you. Words can change to nouns. That's the first class. You can change words to verbs. Second class. You can change those words to adjectives. That's the third class. You can change those words to adverbs. That's the fourth class. And you can change those words to gerund, which is the fifth. All right. Now, 1. Believe. When you are given a word, so ask yourself this question. Under which category or under which grammatical category is the word rank? If you answer to that question, it becomes easy for you to go ahead. Believe. You know, in class you were taught that certain words or certain verbs don't take the infinitive marker to. But in that context, what do? You try to put to in front in order to see if it goes or stands as a verb. Believe, I put to believe. Great, it is a verb. So I have no interest again to give a verb as grammatical class. I will look for the 4 others mentioned in the question. So I will suggest believer. A believer, someone who believes in something. I can't know about the nature of the belief, but I'm trying to describe that if you are given the verb to believe, you can change it into a believer. Yes. Which is now an adjective. After believer, you have belief. That is the fact of believing that something is true. Great. After belief, we have believing. We mentioned gerunds. Believing, you see the ing at the end of the word. It is a gerund. unbeliever, which is an antonym of believer, or a non-believer, if you want it to be put in a different manner. Unbeliever is antonym or opposite to believer. And then disbelief. Disbelief simply means something which is not belief, or the fact to say no to a particular concept or a particular information. 2, courage. Courage is a noun. I have courage enough to do this. I have courage enough to write my examination. So courage is a noun. You give 3 other forms. The first one that we can propose here is courageous. That is, we move from the noun to an adjective by adding what? The suffix us, ous. The second form is a prefix that we use, n, encourage. That is, we take it the other way around, because we first of all started with the suffix and then we put it in a prefixation form by putting n in front. Encourage. That is, you motivate somebody to do something. Great. We have courageously. Courageously is an adverb which describes the manner in which something is being done. It is done with courage. So he did the exercise courageously. Adverb. Number 2. You were asked to, 3. You were asked to give 3 words after steal. Steal is what? Steal is just taking something illegally without having any permission. That is a basic definition, if I want to take it like that. Now, give 3 other words from steal. As answers, we proposed theft. That is the noun that comes from the verb to steal. You can see that it is an irregular form because the S-T-E-A-L has not completely changed into T-H-E-F-T, theft. And then after theft, we look for the adjective. You want to name somebody, you want to call him, oh, you stole my pen. You are you say a thief. Great. After thief, what do we have? You can use a gerund, like stealing. And you know, a gerund is sometimes considered as a subject in a sentence, as a concept in a sentence. For example, stealing is something bad. It opens a sentence. So those are the words that we can use, derived from to steal. Number 5, or number 4, yes, sorry. Fly. When I study the grammatical class, it is a verb because I will put to in front as infinitive marker, and then I have to fly. What can we have? As from fly, we suggest flight. That is the fact or the process of moving for a plane from a country to another. The flight. Start as from 9 o'clock maybe to 4 o'clock in the evening. Flight of a plane. I insist on the meaning because, you know, in all languages, words are considered in context. So I prefer insisting on the word flight considered as the movement of a plane. Great. And then flying, we can be considered for any kind of movement. And then flies, which is the plural of fly. Number 4, we were given care. We can use careful as adjective because care is a noun. We can use careless, somebody who doesn't care. Somebody who always neglects what he's doing. He's not paying great attention on what he's doing. So he's careless, like a driver, a careless driver, moving from right to left on the road or on the way. Now, carelessly. Carelessly, as I said earlier, stands for an adverb describing the manner in which something is being done without any care, without attention. Caring is just a gerund, the fact of taking care. The last one, which is not the least, to die, derived into 4 other forms. We have death, which is the noun. We have dead, which is an adjective, a dead person. And then we have deadly, which is an adverb. And then dying, which is a gerund, or a present continuous form. Those are the different corrections that we brought for the 3 given practical exercises. Now we have an assignment for us to close this session. Make a list of 10 words with the derivative forms. That is, you identify 10 words, and then, just as we did for the 3rd practical exercise, you give the different form that can follow. I hope that quite soon we will be together again for a new lesson. Thanks for your kind attention.